This chapter is entitled Rockstar. As fate would have it, the last time I ever had the dream was early in the morning on Friday, April 4th. That was the day of the concert, so it might have been nice to have slept well, but by the time I had showered the dream away and headed downstairs for breakfast, I was so nervously hyper that there was no way a lack of sleep was going to slow me down. I would just have to crash on Saturday. My mom and Jeffrey were down in Philadelphia, but they were due to get back in time for the concert. My dad and I had never spoken again about his choice not to attend the concert, but I know my mom and him had to have at least one discussion about it. You know, the kind of discussion that rattles your teeth, that you can't help overhearing no matter how loud you crank up your Discman. So that morning, when the issue was on both of our minds, he and I didn't have a single safe word to say to each other. It was weird being so nervous and quiet at the same time, but as soon as I got to school, the quiet part became a memory. Why was Dad not going to show up to the concert? Go ahead.
Yeah, he's bored.
Because he's got work. What's his dad do for work?
He's an accountant.
Man, great memory. He's an accountant. And it's April. It's actually the beginning of April, which is deadline for the IRS to get your taxes in. And so his dad is a tax accountant. He crunches all those numbers for people and businesses to get to file their taxes. And his dad needs the money, right? So he feels like he has to work. Stephen is obviously upset that his dad's not going to make the concert due to work. Back to the story. Renee assaulted me in homeroom with a copy of the program in her hand. It was thicker than any school program I'd ever seen, with a beautiful, glossy cover shot of the band on stage. When you opened up the program, there was Jeffrey. His kindergarten photo was blown up to nearly full-page size, and beneath it there was a statement in neat black calligraphy. All proceeds from tonight's concert will benefit the Jeffrey Alper Medical Trust. Simply unbelievable. Thanks to the amazing brains of two girls, Jeffrey had gone from being a regular little kid to a medical trust. I had to admit, despite the strangeness of the whole thing, Renee and Annette had done an incredible job with the whole project. When the homeroom bell rang, Annette came rushing in to give me the latest totals on the box office receipts and the profits from the program ads. As soon as she and Renee were standing together, I noticed they both had gotten really short haircuts, like really short haircuts, but you know me by now. I just chalked it up to coincidence. And I thanked them all for their hard work. I answered a few questions about Jeffrey, and then I went to class. That day, Mrs. Palma, 3 tickets and a gigantic basket of cookies for the bake sale, was showing a movie based on the last book we read. So, of course, I spaced out completely. I couldn't even tell you what I thought about, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Homer's use of foreshadowing in The Odyssey. Mostly, I think I practiced playing the All City songs in my head. Somehow, between Miss Palma saying, "Please take note of the dramatic irony in this scene," and my brain saying, "Bit bop da doo wop," I got through the class. The whole day was like that, but eventually, even a Friday at middle school has to come to an end. The last bell rang and I started to head out for the bus, and then the intercom in Mr. Atras's room buzzed. "Please send Stephen Alper to the office." I got called to the office. Now that'll put a lump in your throat, right? On the way there, I alternated between running so I could find out what the news was fast and trudging so I wouldn't have to know yet. Either way, my mind never slowed down for a second. Oh, geez, Grandma fell and broke her hip. Oh, God, Dad is here to kidnap me, so I can't be at the concert. He'll probably set me up with a slide rule and a pile of tax returns in some cheesy motel by the interstate. All he has to do is hold me for like 6 hours, and it'll all be over. My hopes, my dreams, my big conga solo. Ruined. Plus, I hate math. And while these surface thoughts were providing some distraction, I knew that the other 9/10 of this mental iceberg, the deadly part that was hiding below, was all about Jeffrey. When I got there, my mom and my brother were standing by the chairs that bad kids sit in when they're waiting to get reamed out by the principal. My mom was chatting calmly with one of the secretaries while the other was giving Jeffrey chocolates from a big jar on her desk. Naturally, I'd been going to that school for 3 years without ever being offered candy from that lady's desk, but whatever. Jeffrey spotted me right away. "Steven, guess what? Today's your concert!" "Yeah, buddy, I know. What's going on? Are you all right? Was your blood count, was your blood work okay?" "I don't know. I'm only 5. There was a clown in my hospital room today. He was pretty cool. He painted my face so I could be Spider-Man. I wanted to be a green Power Ranger, but the clown said he didn't have enough green face paint. Isn't that weird? He wasn't such a prepared clown, I don't think. I needed some facts, and I needed them pronto. Mom, don't interrupt, Steven. Mom, is everything okay? Sure. Well, then why are you here? Why did you page me out and give me a heart attack? Well, we were on our way home, and I thought you might like to spend some time with your family on your big day, so we picked you up. Don't be so dramatic. I'm not being dramatic, Mom. I was worried. Well, worry no more. Your mother is on the scene, and everything is under control. Yeah, things have been completely out of hand before she stepped in to rescue me heroically from my long, painful bus ride with Annette and Renee. Thanks for the thought, Mom, but, you know, I am entitled to a complimentary bus ride home at taxpayer expense, and I'd hate to disappoint the taxpayers, so I'll just be on my way then. Steven, wait. I want to see you. I miss you. They did a spinal tap on me. It was scary. So long, my girls. Hello, my boy. On the way home, my mother briefed me about Jeffrey's treatment. His counts still didn't look good, and Dr. Moses had almost kept him in the hospital for another few days, but when my mom told the doctor about the big concert, he agreed to discharge Jeffrey with another specific warning to rush to the ER if anything didn't seem right. I was grateful for my mom for going to bat about this. With my dad refusing to attend, my 15 minutes of fame would have been pretty lonely without her and Jeffrey. I mean, I would still have known like half the audience, but my grandparents weren't going to miss this for anything. But still, it was nice to know that I'd have a couple of relatives there who didn't need to chug a can of Geritol to stay awake for the whole performance. For his part, Jeffrey did seem kind of wiped out. On the other hand, he was also definitely all psyched up to see me play. My mom had explained to him that the concert was going to raise money for his treatment, that he should thank the people for coming, that he should behave himself like a gentleman, and blah, blah, blah. But he hadn't been particularly interested in any of that. His big goal for that evening was to shout out, "Yay, Steven! That's my brother!" every time I hit a drum. Back at the house, we still had about an hour and a half to kill before I was supposed to be at the high school. I was a madman. I paced back and forth in my room, laying out, refolding, double-checking my clothes, all City Jazz Band, t-shirt, black jeans, as if there was any way to screw putting up that kind of uniform. And then I stalked downstairs to the kitchen and I laid out 3 different snack cakes, agonizing over which one would provide the best musical energy boost. Well, the chocolate-covered, chocolate-filled chocolate donut provides both sugar and caffeine, yet the vanilla snack cake is even sweeter for that quick burst of power. And what of the classic apple pie? It is individually wrapped in wax paper for freshness and probably provides traces of at least one vitamin. In the end, my mother walked in and insisted I eat a yogurt, as if that were food. I knew the band would be having the traditional post-concert pizza delivered to the rehearsal room, but honestly, was I supposed to survive on nothing but bacteria-laden milk solids for the next several hours? A compromise was reached, and I am pleased to report that vanilla yogurt makes quite an edible topping for apple pie. I bounced around the house trying not to wake Jeffrey, who had dozed off in the living room couch. I read Modern Drummer magazine for 5-minute stretches. In between, I paced some more. Occasionally, I peeked out the front window and hoped that my father had changed his mind and was at that very moment pulling up to the house, but who was I kidding? The time crawled by like a tortoise with arthritis, but finally the kitchen clock said 5:17. It was time to roll out. I shouted for my mom. I woke Jeffrey up. I ran upstairs. I changed into my concert clothes. I put on my shoes and I was standing by the door to the garage by 5:19, chanting, "Let's go! Come on, let's go!" Feel free to try that at home, by the way. Moms love it. I practically hurled Jeffrey into his booster seat and dove headlong into the car after him. I was in the mood to peel out, to burn rubber, to lay pedal to the metal. I wanted my mom to skid her way to the concert like maybe, just maybe, we could get pulled over for speeding and my mom could tell the officer, "Oh, but sir, do you know who's in the back seat? That's Steven Alper, the second drummer for the All City Jazz Band. And the concert starts in less than an hour." Then the cop would dash back to his car, call headquarters and get us a motorcycle escort to the school.
No, I don't
Or-
think that's gonna happen.
My mom could just putt there at her usual stately 31 miles per hour while Jeffrey and I bounced and chattered in the back seat like two bald monkeys on a sugar high. Either way, I suppose we wound up at the school. Jeffrey insisted on coming with me into the band room, which was his right since the concert was for him. And when we entered, I almost had a heart attack. Every single member of the band was wearing a matching red baseball cap. Did I miss a memo or something? Had I screwed up my uniform after all? My mom looked at me. I looked at my mom. Jeffrey ran around the room oblivious, and then somebody spoke. It was Biff, of all people. Who's Biff?
Renee's boyfriend.
The
Renee Albert's
guitar
boyfriend.
player.
Plays guitar player. Good memory. Jeffrey, I have something to tell you. We, the members of the All City Jazz Ensemble, would like to present you with a gift in honor of your courage, your good cheer, and your inspiration that you give to all of us. Well, that was laying it on pretty thick with a trowel. Okay, he had our interest anyway. So, Jeffrey, we hereby proclaim you to be an honorary member of the band. It's my pleasure to give you this official All-City t-shirt and very special All-City baseball cap. He took off his own cap to give to Jeffrey, and underneath it, Biff was bald. Biff had shaved his head bald in a tribute to my brother. And just as I started to get a mental grasp on all of this, everyone else reached for their hats too. At a signal from Annette, who was standing with Renee by the piano, they all whipped off their hats as well. My mom was the only person in the room with hair long enough to comb. I flashed back to Annette and Renee's matching super short dues, and suddenly it all made sense. Suddenly, too, I had a huge lump in my throat. Jeffrey was running all over the room, hugging everybody, rubbing players' heads for good luck, and my mom was standing there with Mr. Watras, whose natural baldness had excused him from the pre-show razoring festivities. There were unquestionably tears welling up in her eyes, but she also looked happy. Like, honestly, when I saw the look on my mom's face, I practically ran over to Biff and hugged him myself. We hung out for a while. Jeffrey ran up to me and buried his head in my stomach. I sort of wrestled him free, and he looked right up into my eyes and he whispered, "You're the best drummer in the world." And then my mom started walking out with him so they could find the reserved front and center seats in the auditorium. And when she pulled open the door, my dad almost fell into the room. He had made it after all. When he saw a room full of bare scalps, though, he immediately got kind of a grim facial expression. He gave me a little half wave and mumbled, "Good luck." And he wheeled right back around to lead my mom and Jeffrey to their seats.